and how powerful we are, right? We are energetic beings, we are soul beings, and we can create anything we choose.
Hello, Courage, Confidence, and Connections podcast fans. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Janice Debo. I am your host. I have a wonderful guest today, a fairly new friend, but full of wisdom, and we'll just have a good time here. Elizabeth Gifford Maffei. She said it's like buffet with the food, so she made it easy for me to remember. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Janice. I appreciate that. Yes, I'm always thinking of food, so that's a great way to remember it. And I'm so honored to be here today and just have a beautiful organic conversation. And I always trust that the universe and the divine kind of leads us to wherever we need to go. So I'm really excited about it.
Absolutely. We may start on one track and wind up down the road on another. So that's where it goes.
I love it.
Well, you mentioned your last name. That might be your married name is Italian. So are you Italian?
Not a lick.
Not
Not at all. My husband is. Yeah, I hail from, and I love saying this. My background, my mom's background is Scandinavian from Denmark. Both grandparents were from Denmark. So I always say the Vikings are my people, right? So I know they get a really bad rap. But it's interesting because I have a family member who lives in the UK, and the first time that we went to a beautiful city there called York, it was originally called Jorvik, which was Dana, well, not only Danish, but a Viking stronghold. The beautiful thing about that history is that there were so many cultures that lived together in peace and harmony and even exchange. I mean, there were cultures from Asia and from all over in during that time period that lived together. So Vikings get a bad rap, but honestly, they were pretty good. So those are my people.
Yes. That's really cool. So Vikings and Italians, I wonder how they mix.
Passionate. They're both passionate. That's what it is.
I absolutely love it. So if you would please give our audience an idea of who you are, where you're, obviously we know where you hail from, the Viking, but yeah, a little bit more like in this life,
You're right.
right, where you hail from, and then we'll get into what you do later. I just want to just kind of get a little traction on who you are for our audience to go from.
Sure, I'd love to. So I am in Central Florida, originally from New York, although you might not be able to tell from my accent, but I shifted that a long time ago. But love my hometown of New York as well. And I work all over the world. I have a mission to empower people. It originally, well, my business originally began in supporting mostly women, but I do work with men, women, couples. But it's empowering them to understand how powerful we are, right? We are energetic beings, we are soul beings, and we can create anything we choose. And in this life, but in my very early life, I was an educator. And so I always have this passion to teach and to guide people back to really who they are, how
Mm.
powerful they are, what they can create, because we weren't taught that in school. And often our families didn't know. We were taught and learned things that our families taught us. So there's so much more that we can create in this lifetime, including healing, mentally, emotional, physical, spiritual, financial, you name it. We can heal and create anything we want. So that's kind of my mission.
And that is awesome. So you have a background that or a passion from your history, but let me ask you this: when you were growing up, how did that manifest when you were a little girl? What did you like to do? Did you have any inkling of I wanted to be a teacher, I wanted to help people? What kind of things really got into your heart when you were a little younger?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I remember being asked to teach a class at church when I was 11 years old. So I think a lot of people recognized that I just had this desire and nature to be able to assist and guide and support others. And I absolutely loved that. I had a lot of interesting experiences when I was a kid too, a lot of spiritual experiences that, we don't, when you're kids, you're like, oh, that just happened. That was interesting. I remember I was maybe 9 and playing with my dolls by myself in my room, and all of a sudden felt like I had someone behind me just wrapping their arms or their wings, if you will, their arms around me and giving me a hug. But I knew no one was there. I wasn't scared. And I thought, oh, that's lovely. Well, hello, hi. And then it just, I didn't even think about it. So these types of little things, this awareness of knowing that we are spiritual beings just became it just became an integral part, was an integral part, but became an integral part of me. So great
Oh,
question. Thanks.
well, that's really cool. What types of things did you enjoy doing when in your youth and your young adult age? What kind of things really got you excited?
So and I know a lot of people have tried this when they were growing up, but I played two instruments, the guitar and the violin. So park that for a minute because that's music. Um, I was a singer in not only in choir, but also in chorus and performed on stage. I also danced when I was younger. So if you think about movement and frequency and music and understanding how that really resonates with us, all and art, I did a lot of arts and crafting, and not that I'm an artist where I couldn't paint or draw. I can attempt, but I can see, I've always been able to see something and say, I can make that. I don't have the plans, but I would be able to see the big picture, deconstruct it, find things around me that I had and put it together and create something. So it really, I guess the message is that music and energy and dance and movement and seeing, putting parts and pieces together to create a whole. And I've
Mm.
never thought of it that way before. So thanks for asking that.
I get that a lot. I never thought of that, or I never got asked that before. So that's
Hmm.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And what has been your overall adult career path? Because I know you work for yourself now, and you might have mentioned it, but let's delve into that a little bit more.
Sure. So originally, I wanted to either become a teacher or a child psychologist. I did a lot of studying in the childhood education area, but I was also always very fascinated with interesting topics like near-death experiences,
Wow.
um, astrology, astronomy, all those kinds of interesting things, right? I would study a lot of that in high school and in college as well. So the choice between being an educator and a child psychologist at the time, and you have to remember that I've been around for a little bit, right? So at the time, I was thinking, I really want to have children of my own. And if I was a child psychologist, I just didn't realize many years ago how I could balance that and make that work and have children, especially when they're home during the summertime, and how I would be able to serve my clients full time as well. So that's why I ended up going into education. And then during a life change for my first marriage, I needed the flexibility because I have two children, both who are brilliant, brilliant, but one is on the spectrum and needed to be home for him. And so no longer could teach in the traditional method. So I ended up going into real estate. And
Wow.
the only reason for that was it was at the time flexible timing.
Hmm.
Never, ever, ever, ever was thinking sales. I'm not salesy. To this day, I'm not salesy. I don't like that, right? But what I discovered was that in the real estate industry, I was really educating. I was dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's, holding people's hands, walking them through a process, which I just love doing. I mean, it was amazing. And so, fortunately, and I was very blessed to be very successful in that. But I also knew that there was just this yearning, there was this bigger something for me. And uh, even though it's flexible time in that industry, sometimes it's not because people will call you on a Sunday night at 8 o'clock and say, I need to go see this house right now.
Mm.
And if you need, and you need to serve them. So really the time really wasn't my own, but more so, it was about sharing with others how to empower and how empower themselves and how powerful they are. And so I was just compelled to move into, I will say, the coaching realm, but really it's way beyond that.
Yeah, I get that. And again, today I was thinking of just, I was scrolling through some social media stuff and a coach, a coach. And truthfully, what we do is way beyond the typical coaching. It it works for the whole being. And for me, I work with businesses as well, but we have a lot of common ground there and some special strengths. However, there are a lot of people getting into this industry called coaching that they don't have the life experience, they don't have the business experience. And what we bring to the table has to be more unique and stronger than your typical program, your typical coaching. And on an interview recently, I had someone say, yes, I decided I didn't want to take that label and, and calls herself a mentor. And really, isn't that more of what we do? We mentor people, whether it be business or personal.
Absolutely. I was one of those people who never liked to categorize myself. And it's not that coaching is a bad word. And honestly, there is no competition in anything anyone does. No one is like you, Janice. No one is like me. I've always said this, there is no competition because we attract those people whom we know we can serve and who it's the frequency, right? Who resonate with us. So if you give yourself a name of a coach, sometimes people understand then, but I've never aligned with that as well. And that's one of the reasons why I say quantum growth practitioner, because I do have many practices. A lot of them are in the energetic spiritual realm. A lot of them are in the scientific realm,
Mm,
which what are we? We're body, mind, and spirit. We're all of that, right?
absolutely.
So, and nobody likes to be labeled anyway, but if it helps someone to start to have a conversation, and it's not about us, it's about them, it's about what's missing in their lives, or what needs to be shifted for them, or what's no longer working for them. And they have a conversation with you, Janice, and they're like, oh, I didn't, right? Like coach doesn't do it, or teacher doesn't do it, or mentor doesn't, it really doesn't matter. It's just having that beautiful build a relationship conversation.
It is. It's in conversations I've had recently, that relational piece just gets stronger and stronger. That was what actually transitioned my whole career. was I was in sales, but I went from barely making it and trying to sell the old school way. I was trained in the Dale Carnegie, the Brian Tracy, the old school. And that's really what it was. It's all they knew at the time. However, it just never really worked. I mean, it worked to a point, but when I learned more, and I've been relational my whole life, I have. However, when I started taking that relational piece and applying it to sales, it completely blew my career up many times over. And really it is about relationships. It's not just I think a lot of people think relationships personally. But if you don't have that relational piece in your business world, be it sales or whatever you do, you're missing out. And I love the alignment piece because it's just been in the recent year or two that I've started to understand the importance of alignment and having the wrong people attracted to you that were never meant to be with you because they were not in alignment, but you were out of alignment because you were attracting the wrong ones. I love that you really work with people on that. So I'd love you to speak to that as a practitioner for what you do. Let's talk about alignment and the value and the importance of it.
I love that. Well, and I hear what you're saying. You were working the 3D world, the third dimensional, and that construct, and that's come up a lot lately as well. But the fifth dimension, the 5D world, is really about aligning yourself. And you also said it was perfect. You said, it was coming from you. You were out of alignment. So often when we and we'll speak to this now, your question, often we're looking at other people and saying, oh, well, I'm the wrong people are coming to me, or it's my messaging or whatever. It could be your physical messaging, yes, but that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about the creation within us, and we are a reflection out into the world. So as we heal within ourselves, as we are able to little by little unpeel those layers of all of the old programming, of all of the old stories. And literally, Janice, we've all had this experience. It could be one word or one look or one comment from a kid on a playground or a teacher or anyone really in even our early lives that totally put a different thought in our bodies, a different thought in our minds, and we started to own that story, and it didn't really belong to us. And so when we start to uncover those layers, we feel lighter. But then we're like, a lot of people get lost there. Like they do the work, but then they're like, oh my gosh, like, who am I now? Who am I? So you have to remember who you really are. But as we put our thoughts and our energy out, we just reflect who we are. So if someone comes to us and they're irritable or cranky, or they turn the blame on us, or whatever it is, it's just a reflection of them. And we shouldn't take it personally. If you're inviting someone to join a program of yours, for example, and they're questioning you and they're giving you a really hard time and they're being very nitpicky, it's because they have their own fears that they're sharing with you. Oh, I'm afraid if it's not perfect. Well, what they're really saying is, I'm afraid I'm not perfect.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
So how we treat others and how we think and the thoughts and the words that we use, which are frequency, will create what it is we want to reflect back to us.
This is really interesting. there's a movie. I've actually brought it up in more than one podcast, and I happened to watch it again last night. And this speaks to exactly what we're talking about. It's called The Mystery of Her. It is a young lady in high school who's in it's pretty much a near fatal auto accident and lost all her memory, her period. And she says some of the most profound words in there, as in, I don't know who I was, but I'm learning who I am. And it's just a very powerful, powerful movie to speak to. Sometimes we'd like to to lose the memory of our past, but she couldn't remember. She had played soccer, but she didn't feel any real passion for it anymore. She, the boyfriend, she goes, I just feel like we're not right for each other. And they had been together for a while. There were other things, and she asked her mom in that movie, shouldn't I feel something, some connection? But she had hidden a journal under her mattress that she had been writing poetry, Elizabeth. And when she found this, she goes, nobody knew she used to write. Nobody knew. But
Hmm.
talk about beautiful. But it's like by losing her memory, she found her true self.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
yeah, like I said, it's pretty profound that I watched it again last night, and I get deeper and deeper with it because how many times I've thought, there's something hanging. I just want to get rid of it. And, I don't want to lose my memory, but I'd like to lose some of those. So,
I get it. Selective losing, right?
selective.
Selective memory loss. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't it be cool if we could just go, and we can,
Yeah.
but if it would be easy, just, oh, look at those files. Oh, delete, delete, delete that one. Oh, no, we'll keep that one, right? Yeah. I love that. I love that. I love that. Well, interesting. So we can delete those files. And part of that is, and this is a word that some people just don't like to hear because they either don't understand it or they don't know how or they don't believe that it's effective. But honestly, I've worked with all kinds of clients and people who are addicted to things and who's not addicted to something, right? Whether it's Netflix or drugs or whatever, right? And that those addictions, what they do is they just mask and numb us from really looking at the truth, which is sometimes feels so scary. But when you have someone to walk with you through that,
Hmm.
it's a lot easier. But the way to delete those memories is to remember them and then forgive them. And forgiveness doesn't make it okay,
True.
doesn't make the other person or people who were involved who may have mistreated you okay. It's not, you're not giving that your past permission to say, I accept that and it's okay. What you're doing is you're releasing its actual physical energy. And I pull energy out of people all the time and, you know, make it disappear, but you also have to do the work.
Hmm.
So forgiving that situation is a release for yourself. And that stays in a container that is no longer connected to you. So the more you can do that, the more now you have space to fill up your your energy, your life, your physical body, your everything with really good and nourishing things that help you move along your path of whatever mission you have to do in this life.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm sure that will help our listeners as they process some of the things that you're sharing. It's been a very good learning curve for me to understand more about energy. And almost daily, I need to remind myself you're just 0.0001 matter. Everything else is energy. And and the power that we have to change our own lives is profound. Now, Your background says quantum growth practitioner, and I love the quantum. That is something that has fascinated me for several years. And as I understand it, you are actually going back, you have gone back to school to get a degree to learn more about this. Why don't we talk about that a little bit too? Because that brings in the whole dimension. And yeah, let's just talk about that.
Yeah, sure. I appreciate that. Yes, I am studying to earn my doctorate in metaphysical science. So again, I love the science part of it, but then I also love the spiritual etheric part of how everything is integrated together. And quantum growth, quantum healing, we hear a lot about. Now it's a buzzword. I'm utilizing this for a long time, but it's a big buzzword right now. But the if you've ever heard of or studied quantum entanglement, everything is energy. There can be someone having a thought whom I will never meet ever, or something happening someplace else in the quantum field, meaning everything that surrounds us.
Mhm.
And that will affect me. Even though they're not related, there is an entanglement. So when we hear things like you'll hear something that says, well, we are all one. Oh yeah, that's nice to say, whatever, we're all one. Yes, we are. And so when the majority, and let's just take humans right now. We're not even talking about animals and flora and fauna and insects and all that. Let's just take humans.
Mhm.
When the majority of us who are living in this physical space right now, of course, there are many, many that are here, they're just in a different form, are in this mindset of, for example, anger and fear and um, dissent, and we're pitting against one another, and I don't like this, these type of people, and I don't like that type of people. When the majority of us are put in a situation where we're all discussing that and thinking it, and you can feel it, I mean, you're creating it in your body,
Mm.
right?
Right.
We all affect everyone else. And even someone who doesn't really have that mindset can wake up the next day and just feel really irritable. And they don't know why. It's because if I'm angry, I'm affecting you. By the same token, if we all choose to let go and allow all of the lower vibrational, that's what anger is, sadness, self-disappointment, right? Um, Grief, all of that, it moves at a lower vibration. It literally are waves of hertz frequency that moves at a lower vibration. If we raise our vibration, how do we do that? Change our thoughts,
Mhm.
change our words, because words can be swords or they can be magic wands. But also, you can raise your energy by dancing, by music, by going outside, walking in nature for a little bit, or picking a flower, or touching a tree or something, going for a walk on the beach, whatever it is, just standing out in the sun for a couple of minutes a day is going to raise your vibration so that that feeling of despair and worry and anxiety and stress and concern starts to relieve. And as I raise my vibration, you raise yours. And as you raise yours, someone whom you don't even know raises theirs. So it's this domino effect.
I see. I love the way you explained it, and I have understood that for a while, and across many different thought patterns. There's a I'm a movie buff. I get a lot of inspiration from movies and music. And there's a show that was on a number of years ago, maybe 10 or 12 years ago, called Touch. And Kiefer Sutherland was in it, and his son was just on the really, I guess, on the high level autism, couldn't talk. but he used numbers to communicate. And the way, and that show truly exemplifies the connectivity and how something that he was doing with numbers in one place affected somebody all the way across the world. Phenomenal, just phenomenal. And really, it is very powerful. And it's humbling too, Elizabeth, to think that my thoughts could affect you or someone. It's very, in a negative way, it's humbling, but in a positive way, it's humbling too. And yeah, I love what you're embracing and how you're using that to help change the world and to help. Well, you've helped me, you've recommended books, and this we've talked several times, and it's so powerful, but it's so third dimensional that if stuff that we get caught up in, that three-dimensional thought patterns. And I know what you're saying about people affecting you, and protecting your energy.
Absolutely. Well, and what you spoke about was really it's a humbling responsibility
It is.
in how you show up in the world because you know you affect others. But really the true responsibility is to show up for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that and you lighten yourself, you bring your light because we're light bodies. I mean, literally, scientifically, we're light bodies. We glow. You can see us in those nighttime vision glasses, right? If
Oh,
you, yeah, it's true. I mean, you can see it, reds and yellows and blues, the hot areas and the cool areas. And so it's our responsibility to show up for ourselves. And when we show up for ourselves in a higher vibrational way, we show up for others. And then we don't have to carry this burden of, oh my gosh, it's my job. Excuse me, it's my job to show up for other people. It's not, it's your job to show up for you.
yeah, and
And
that's yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, yeah, we're doing a lot of talking, need some water. Absolutely. I have been one of those people that is just a really I give and give and give and give. It's taken years to realize I need to give to myself. Matter of fact, I was even doing a meditation um yesterday, or maybe today, that was like turning your love inward. It's hard if you haven't done that. And I've always encouraged clients and people I know to learn to like themselves. And so many people, they can't love themselves until they like themselves. I couldn't. I couldn't. But it's that vibration and that self-loathing comes out physically.
I got it. I got it. Well, you used a two-word phrase much earlier, and it was I am. And I am is truly a divine resonance description of ourselves. So when we say, even if we don't feel it, I am happy, I am grateful, and gratitude is everything. And you're grateful for things that haven't even happened yet. I promise you, they will come to you.
Right.
I'm grateful for that brand new house that has a 3-car garage or whatever. I'm grateful for all the money flowing to me this month. It hasn't even happened yet, but be in gratitude. The other way, and this is the practice that I do every single day. Every morning, I get up, I pour myself a glass of water, put it in front of me, and I do a prayer/meditation, but I physically put my left hand on my heart and then my right hand over that. Left hand, left side of the body is the feminine side, that's the receiving side. Right hand, masculine, that's the action giving side. And I can tell when people come to me, whether it's online or in person,
Just
I can tell if one side is open or closed or one side is overused. Like I'll have women come to me and they're like their right arm energetically looks like a bodybuilder mass. I mean, it's just, and the other side is atrophied. I can spiritually see that. So what I do is I tell my body and my cells that I love them. So left hand first, receive, right hand on top, give. And every day I say, I love you, I love you, I love you. Then I move down to my solar plexus, which is above my navel, below the breastbone, and I tell my upper stomach 3 times I love it. Then I tell my lower belly, below my belly button, that's the sacral chakra, that's the place of creativity. I love you, I love you, I love you. Then I touch my head, my crown, and I touch my feet, my connection to earth. And each time I say, I love you 3 times. And you get used to telling yourself that you love you. It's
That
really, it's a great practice. It takes 15 seconds, but it is so, so powerful.
that is great. I'm glad we've got that recorded. That's fantastic.
Good, good, good,
No,
good.
it really, really is. I simply love the fact that we're mostly energy, and that has changed a lot of areas of my life. It's helped me to open up. And even with my kitty cat, this is so funny. I have to, cats are the same amount of energy and matter that we are. So, my cat, speaking of the heart, my cat must have the strongest intuition of any animal because he'll walk up to me when I'm resting or he wants me to rest, he'll let me know. And so he will put his little paws right on my heart,
Mm-hmm.
right over my heart. And he just won't move. He'll put them there and purr and purr. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's phenomenal that we can have an impact on our pets, but they can in turn have an impact on ours as well, on us as well.
There's no question. And their purring actually stimulates your cells. Um, it's interesting. I'm always learning because I'm a learning fanatic. Just always am. Um, just today, I saw something that, and I, of course, I love to see it as well, but I'm not a doubting Thomas. If I hear something or whatever, I understand, I believe it as well. But there was a study done many, many years ago by a woman doctor, and forgive me, I don't remember her name, but she tested her own blood cells based on different emotions that she was feeling.
Really? Hmm.
This was like mind blowing to see. So there was a picture of her blood cells, and she had been crying. She was very sad, and she had been crying. And somehow she was able to test her blood cells at the time. And do you know that her cells changed into the shape of tears? Is that mind blowing or what?
It is. Wow.
And then she tested, being angry or frustrated, and they went back to the round cells, but they were all kind of clumped together and they were moving like kind of frantically, like all over the place. Like, and you know how you feel when you're angry, you're like, your whole body shakes. Well, your
Ah,
blood cells are doing the same. And then this part didn't surprise me. Then she had a picture of blood cells that people were praying over. They were lit up, but not only were they lit up, in between the cells, there were sparkles. And I've read things over and over and over again, like over in Asia, where they've had doctors there and a patient who's laying on a table and they're about to remove a tumor, and they all do chanting and or prayer first. These are the doctors. They're all the professionals in the room before the surgery. They do chanting and prayers and all of that. And then before they do the surgery, they do another test, and they have found often that the tumor is gone.
Believe that. That's
So I'm telling you, we're so powerful, so powerful.
yes, we are. Wow. We have
Isn't that cool?
it. That is really, really cool. Boy, we've we've gone for a while here. I would like to give you the opportunity, Elizabeth, to just share freely whatever you'd like to and tell our audience, your information will be available, of course. But anything you feel on your heart to share or that you feel it needs to be said, there might be just one person that can hear it right now. But yeah,
Love it. I love it. And the moment that you've asked me that, and as we're creating this, it's 444. So I work in the frequency of numbers as well,
I'm a number.
right? Yeah, I love that. So that was, I mean, there was no mistake about that. So yeah, I work all over the world. The energy is the same, whether you come into my physical office or it doesn't matter, all over the world. The energy is the same, and I'm able to read and help you to shift and find out exactly what's going on for you that is keeping you stuck, keeping you in a frequency, but then also depending on what each individual and or couple needs, and sometimes groups as well.
Mhm.
I love to give actionable steps that feel safe, that feel doable, that feel empowering, that get you in that momentum of being able to move forward and leave all that junk behind you. So, and right now, I have created and I'm offering a course. It's called Money, Mindset, and Magic. It's a 5-week journey to master the energetics of abundance, but we're weaving in numerology, crystals, which actually have memory and frequency and affect us very much like our pets can, crystals, and also the law of attraction. And that's starting very, very soon, April 22nd, but it's not too late. And all the recordings will be available. So I do have people all over the world jumping on that, but even if they can't make it live, they'll still get the recordings. And it's really an honor to be able to serve in a way that empowers people to learn how to heal themselves.
And we need more of that. And I like the awareness that is growing around the world.
Absolutely.
I believe it's becoming infectious, and we know we've been in some troubled times. However, I, for one, if somebody asked me, well, how are you handling what's going on? I'll probably do the deer in the headlights and go, well, what do you mean? Because I have a life going on that I like to focus on bringing people on like yourself that can share the positive, the upbeat. Let's talk energy. Let's talk changing the world, even if it's just one person at a time. That's all we can do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's all we should, not that's all we should do, but it's it's let's not be in the mindset of perfection or procrastination. Right.
Exactly.
Let's be in the mindset of being proactive, just one step at a time, one person that you talk with, one smile. You go into the grocery store and you smile and you thank the person who bags your groceries. I can't tell you. And not only does it make them feel good, but then you walk out feeling good. You've raised your vibration and you are affecting everybody who walks right past you. So don't worry about being perfect. Don't stop yourself from just saying, I'm really feeling called to just call this person up and say, hey, been thinking about you. Hope you're doing okay. It makes a difference.
Yes, we can all make a difference. Thank you
Mhm.
so much,
My
Elizabeth.
pleasure. My
And
pleasure,
thank
my honor. Mhm.
well, we talk as often as we can, but we got this one on tape, so to speak.
Beautiful.
To our wonderful audience, this is Janice Debo. I'm signing off for Courage, Confidence, Connections podcast. Join us next time for another exciting episode and watch this one as often as you can. You'll find Elizabeth's information with all of the available. Goodness, my mouth just stopped working. How to contact her and me as well on YouTube, on my website, and probably on hers after she gets all of the recordings. So anyway, everybody take care. We'll be back another time.